centuries, people have been told that the greatest library in human history burned in a single tragic night. But what if that is not the full story? What if the most sensitive scrolls, the maps, the star tables, even the records of forgotten civilizations were removed long before the flames ever touched the walls of Alexandria? Tonight we are going to follow the trail of those missing records and ask a very simple question: who took them and where did they go? The Library of Alexandria was not just a building full of books, it was a state project. Every ship that entered the harbor of Alexandria was searched. If a captain carried scrolls, they were copied, sometimes even taken, and the copy was returned. The goal was clear: collect every piece of human knowledge in one place. Mathematics from Egypt, astronomy from Babylon, philosophy from Greece, medicine from India, even legends from faraway lands. Imagine for a moment what such a collection would contain. Stories about older floods, older kingdoms, maybe even records of people we now call gods. But there is a problem. When we look for detailed catalogs of this library, we do not find them. We are told the catalogs existed. We are told there were hundreds of thousands of scrolls, but almost nothing survived. That silence is suspicious. Important institutions leave paper trails. Here, the trail seems to vanish. Most school versions tell us the library was burned by one conqueror or another, and that was the end. Ancient writers blame Julius Caesar. Later writers blame Christian or Muslim rulers. But some historians today suggest a more uncomfortable possibility. The knowledge did not disappear in one night. It was removed slowly, over decades, maybe even over centuries. Valuable scrolls were taken by scholars, by priests, by royal families, and stored in safer, more private places. Why would they do that? Because knowledge is power. A scroll that tells you how the Egyptians calculated the flooding of the Nile can make you rich. A manuscript that contains star positions from thousands of years ago can help you predict eclipses. A text that describes ancient rituals can give authority to a religious leader. These are not things a ruler wants to lose in a public fire. So when political instability came to Alexandria, the people who understood the value of the collection had every reason to take the best pieces away. There are three destinations that appear again and again in legends. The first is Pergamon, another library that suddenly became very strong in the same era. Some scholars believe that part of the Alexandrian collection was shared or quietly sold there. The second is the temples of Egypt themselves. Remember, Alexandria was in Egypt, and Egyptian priesthoods had been guarding sacred texts for millennia. If a scroll contains stories about pre-dynastic kings, about the star Sirius, or about the first time the Nile failed to flood, the priests of Heliopolis or Memphis would have wanted it. The third destination is the most mysterious, private libraries within powerful families. When Rome rose, rich Roman families collected Greek and Egyptian knowledge. If a Roman general captured a city, he did not only take gold, he took books. Later, Christian scholars did the same. That means some Alexandrian material may have been absorbed, rewritten, Christianized, and we only meet it centuries later under a new name. Now we enter the part that channels like Secret Origins love, and for good reason. Ancient libraries did not only store history, they stored technical and occult material, navigation tables, herbal medicine, early machines, astrology manuals, even creation stories that did not agree with later official religion. When a new belief system becomes dominant, texts that contradict it become dangerous. The easiest way to deal with them is not always to burn them, it is to move them somewhere else and stop talking about them. Some researchers think that the Alexandrian shelves may have contained older Egyptian records that themselves came from a forgotten source, maybe from a pre-dynastic period, maybe from a culture that survived a great flood. If that is true, then whoever took those scrolls did not just save books, they saved the timeline. And controlling the timeline means controlling how people see themselves. Do we see any signs of this hidden transfer? Yes, small ones. In late antiquity, we suddenly see writers quoting books that no longer exist. They say, as the Egyptian books say, but the books are gone. Medieval Arab scholars talk about the House of Wisdom in Baghdad, with incredible Greek and Egyptian knowledge. Where did some of those texts come from? Some stories even claim Alexander the Great ordered that secret books be sealed in Egypt for future kings. These are echoes, shadows of a library that did not die all at once, but was harvested? Most likely yes, parts of it burned more than once. But by the time the biggest fires happened, the smartest people had already taken what mattered. What burned was the shell, not the heart. That is why today we cannot point to a single catalog and say, this was the true Library of Alexandria. The real library may have been spread across temples, private collections, and later royal libraries for centuries. So the real mystery is not who burned the library. The real mystery is who walked out of Alexandria carrying a box of scrolls and what was written on them. Until we find those texts, human history will always have holes. If you like following trails like this, subscribe, because in the next episode we are going to look at another group that was very good at collecting secret knowledge, the Knights Templar, and what they may have found under the temple in Jerusalem.